just finished doing a little dance, everyone. That's why we're all sort of ready to go. Hi everyone, I'm Sal Henley and I'm from the Slimming World Golden Bus Tour. Hopefully you've been enjoying your virtual groups in this time, and we're at home and we're videoing a few little videos to keep you inspired, to keep going and to make sure you have lovely home cooked food for all the family. If you're like us, there's 8 of us in one household, so it's a big deal to get everything on the table in time for when everyone's hungry. So we've got things like chickpeas and, you know, the odd carrot that's hanging around, or even half a jar of roasted red peppers. We're going to add all of those together and we're going to create a veggie paella. So let's get cooking. So we're going to get a nice non-stick deep pan. This is what you want because it's a family-sized paella. So we're going to add in a big onion and a big carrot. There we go. Can you see that? I've just chopped that up finely. And we're just going to put that in with a tiny bit of water. And the reason I'm cooking with water is because I just prefer it, and you can just put that on, and what it does is it naturally evaporates but cooks the onion and the carrot together. You can put a lid on that to speed that up if you want, but that's going to take about 5 to 10 minutes to cook down, and then I'll be back. That's so funny. We've just been discussing while this has been cooking about my clumsiness and how I drop a lot of stuff. So we're going to see if this will work, but the onions and carrots have cooked down. You can see all the water's evaporated off, and this is the moment where we're not meant to drop them. The turmeric, thyme and smoked paprika. If you haven't got smoked paprika, you can use paprika itself that's not smoked. Thyme, you can use fresh thyme if you wanted, even dried oregano. And turmeric, well, the alternative to that is saffron, which is the traditional paella sort of spicing, but it's very expensive, so if I was you, I'd go with turmeric. So it's one of everything. It's very easy to remember. So it's 1 tablespoon of dried thyme. Here's a tip, by the way. If you get measuring spoons and buy them, buy the longer ones that actually go into the jar. Helpful. I didn't do that, and so it's not so helpful. Okay, smoked paprika goes in there. That's about a tablespoon as well. And then a teaspoon of turmeric. It's easy to remember it's a teaspoon, otherwise it'll make your teeth go very yellow. There we go. And we're just going to give that a good stir, and I'm going to add in some garlic. I've chopped some garlic here. You're thinking, wow, that's a lot of garlic. Don't worry, we're not using all of it. You just want to add in about 4 cloves of garlic, but if you don't like garlic that much, just add a little bit less. But my family loves garlic, so I'm going to chuck that in. So now what I'm doing is I'm cooking all the spices out, and it's quite important to do that, even if you're doing a curry or something like that, to get that heat into there. Otherwise it gets that sort of gritty, uncooked flavour to your final dish, and you don't want that. So if you can see, it's nice and sort of dry in the pan, so it's really toasting them. Then it's 4 more ingredients that we're going to add in. So, roasted red peppers. Do you like roasted red peppers, girls?
Oh, yeah.
Love them. We have them all the time at home, but if you haven't got them, you could use frozen red peppers. You know, you just buy them already cut even, it's even better. So I've just stripped those. That's about 3 roasted peppers that you get in a jar. I've just drained off the juice. Then a small can of tomatoes. But again, if you haven't got tomatoes, they're in a can, you can use some fresh tomatoes and a bit of extra tomato puree. Then I've got 2 vegetable stock cubes, and I always crumble those in because it just makes sense, because then it doesn't get stuck in the bottom of the jug if you're dissolving it in there. So that goes in like that. And then good old Tommy puree. So again, you could measure it, but I never really do. Squidge there. There we go, jobs are good. Okay, so give that a stir, and hopefully your house has now got lots of lovely smells in there. Now this is the point, I would freeze it. So at home, when I'm doing what I call batch cooking, which is cooking a lot of volume of food, I then will batch it up to freeze it. And this is a perfect time to do it with the paella, because one, if you put the rice in there, it's going to take up too much space in your freezer. So I would cook about 3 or 4 times the amount, and then I would divide it up into 4, say if you cook 4 times the amount. And then I'd label it up as SW Paella Mix, so Slimming World Paella Mix. And then the good tip is to write the remainder of the recipe actually on the label, so you're not rummaging around trying to find the recipe in 2 weeks' time or in a year's time to work out what you have to do. So I just put an abbreviation on that. Then we're not going to obviously put this in the freezer because we're cooking it. So this is 350 grams of long grain rice. And you can use paella rice, but it's a lot more expensive. I would say if you're using easy cooked rice, you will need to add a lot more water to it. So just try and use normal bog standard long grain rice. So we're going to give that a stir. And then I need to rush off and go and get some water. So 2 seconds, I'll be back. That's what happens with cookery in a kitchen, live at home. So 900 mils of boiling water. There we go. And what you're going to do is just pour that in. So 350 grams of long grain rice to 900 mils of boiling water. And then you want to give that a good stir. Lovely. And then the cooker just takes the strain, the hob. And we're just going to stir that. And then you want to just put a lid on it. And then you just turn it down. Is it that one? Yeah, it's that one. Turn it down so it's simmering. So you bring it up to the boil and simmer it for 15 minutes, and then we'll come back and you'll see all the water will have been absorbed by the rice. Well, let's hope so. Okay, here we go, guys. Are you hungry? Let's hope so. Woo! Smell-o-vision.
Oh yeah, smells good.
Yeah, smells delicious.
Good. So this is what it looks like after 15 minutes. So you can see all the rice has swollen up with water. Now, this is where you can put in anything if you wanted to. If you've got a can of sweet corn or any other kind of lentils would go in. I know it's not a traditional veggie paella, but you know, in these times, you just grab what you've got in the store cupboard and go for it. So I've drained some chickpeas because I had some there. And everyone's got a few frozen peas there. You don't even need to defrost them. Just scatter them out so that they evenly kind of cook. And then this is the point where I would season it. Now look, there's a lot of rice and a lot of vegetables in there, so we've got a lot of free food in there, which is great. So I'm just going to give that a really good season. And then, with some pepper. What you want to try and do is get this on your lowest heat on the hob, okay? So I might swap over to the smaller hob and just turn that on to its lowest heat. Let's see if that will work. High tech or what? Here we go. Yeah, and then you just turn that down to its lowest setting. Then what we're going to do is cook that for 5 minutes only, and then we'll take it off the heat and let it rest for 10 minutes. And what you're looking for is a lovely kind of little crust on the bottom of that paella. So you know there that what I call the cook's favourites, the really good sort of yummy gritty little bits at the bottom that give that toasty rice that great flavour. So we'll come back to that in a minute. Okay, so now we've cooked the paella, so you have it for 5 minutes on a low heat, then you take it off the heat, let it rest for 10 minutes. Always rest your rice, even if you're boiling rice at home. When you've drained it, put a piece of kitchen towel over it and leave that for 10 minutes. And what happens is it takes the moisture out of the rice, which is a really good tip, and then you won't have sticky rice. So this is the final. Ooh. What do we think, team?
Yeah.
So you can see how the peas and the chickpeas are all now warmed through and cooked. And then you can see, hopefully you can see that. Ooh.
Ooh, the crust.
That was Lucy going, ooh. So can you see there's a bit of a crust forming there? You could even get a bit more on there if you wanted to. It just depends on your hob. So you just give that a really good stir, but before you stir it all the way through, take half a lemon, maybe a whole lemon actually. I'm just doing that so you catch the pips. Of course, ironically, there's no pips in that one, which is very unusual. So we're going to do that. And then just give that a great stir. And you can see how lovely and colourful that is. If you wanted a paella with chicken or fish in it, what I would do is add those ingredients when you add the rice and the boiling water. And then they'll cook in those 15 minutes when it's simmering on the hob. So look at that, that looks great. I'm going to put that on a plate. And this is going to serve at least 4 people, if not a few more. And I'm actually going to have it for my lunch. I think the crew might have some as well later on. And I've just served it with a bit of lemon, and I like to have just a fresh squeeze of lemon over the top. And then you can get stuck in. Whoopie woo. I'm going to say that's not bad. I mean, I don't brag about my food, but that's all right, you know. Anyway, we'll see you soon.